Hello friends! Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Aleece, and this is my mystical Christmas tree. And today I have for you another book series that I have found on Audible that is available with membership until New Year's Eve, I think is what it said. I'm pretty sure it said until 12/31. So yeah, this is called the Return to Willoughby Close series by Kate Hewitt. And I had found this on a whim. I don't even remember what I looked up. I think I looked up Christmas books on Audible because I feel like during December I exclusively want to read Christmas-based books, because any other time of the year I just don't feel like reading winter books. So I feel like I have to pack them all in right now in December and just fill up with all the Christmas vibes before I don't want to anymore. So this book series, I have listened to the first one called Cupcakes for Christmas, and right now I'm finishing up Welcome Me to Willoughby Close, and I am going to say that this is another series that is not lighthearted by any stretch of the imagination. There is a lot of heavy themes in this book, and in this book series in general. It's not exactly like a fluffy Christmas series, like how my Miracle Creek book was not fluffy Christmas. This is also not fluffy Christmas. It is more serious. It's more Hallmark movies and mysteries, not Hallmark exclusively, even though it does have some fluffy elements to it. And the first book, Cupcakes for Christmas, was about Olivia and, oh my gosh, let me look, hold on. Olivia and who was the love interest? Simon. I wanted to say Simon, but I didn't want to be wrong. So it's about Olivia and Simon. And if you have been around for the majority of my videos, you might remember that I talked about the heart of the deal a while ago. When I first started my channel, I talked about the heart of the deal. And that book is similar to Cupcakes for Christmas, but not entirely. So in the heart of the deal, if you didn't watch that video, I would recommend watching it so that you get an idea of what I'm referring to. Because in that book, it deals with depression, and it deals with Dustin and Ray and their relationship and how depression affects it. And I had a negative outlook on that because I did not like how it was handled whatsoever. I disliked it very strongly. But in this book, Cupcakes for Christmas, it also deals with depression, but not in a bad way. It's not in a toxic way, which I was applauding Kate Hewitt for this, because she handled it in a way that I thought was very classy, very nice, very relatable, and not in a bad way. It was great. So it starts off with Olivia being by herself and just living her best life, and she feels kind of lonely, and she owns this cupcake shop, and she's 37, or it says she's close to 40, but that doesn't mean 39 in my opinion. That means she's probably between the ages of 35 and 39. So I'm going to split the difference and say that she's 37. So she's 37, and she's feeling lonely. It's Christmas time. She doesn't really have anybody in her life. She hangs out with her mom a lot, which is not a problem whatsoever. Her mom is wonderful, and her mom is kind of going through a tough time right now, which is where the heavy themes kind of come into play. Her mom is going through getting diagnosed with Alzheimer's, which is very heavy to talk about around Christmas time especially. And I felt bad for Olivia for having to go through that with her mom. And so that's how the story first starts off. And then we meet Simon. And Simon is wonderful. He is such a great male love interest. He is so sweet. He is so kind. He's very generous. And I really liked the way his character was written. And he is written in a way that compliments Olivia. And they seem like they go together. And they first meet when she is about to close her shop for the day because nobody's really coming to visit because it's kind of late and it's like really cold out. Nobody really wants a cupcake for Christmas, I guess, if you will. It's kind of a pun involving the title. But yeah, so nobody really wants a cupcake at this time. But Simon is like, wait, hold on. Are you closed yet? And she's like, no, you can come in. I was just going to close early because nobody really wanted to come in. And it's understandable because it's not very nice out right now. And so he comes in and they talk and they chat. And Olivia's like, wow, he's super nice. I really like him. And it's kind of like a meet cute. And she could see herself like wanting to get to know him better. Like she's thinking about him and thinking about asking him out. But at first he seems a little bit standoffish. Only a little bit. Not in a huge noticeable way. But Olivia's kind of like got social anxiety, I think. And it feels like she's a classic overthinker, which is completely understandable. And she just feels like there's something about Simon that is like off a little bit. Like he's not, I mean, when they first met, he was very, very nice. Like I could tell he was really nice and he seemed interested in Olivia. But she could tell that he was like holding back a little bit, I guess. But so that was their like first encounter. And he then comes into her shop almost every day or basically every day. And she comes up with this promotion to like get more customers, not just because of Simon, but because her business is kind of slow. So she comes up with this idea for, it's like what the title says, Cupcakes for Christmas. And so she comes up with all these different flavors for different days of the week and stuff like that. And Simon comes into her shop more and more, and he asks her out on a date, and they get to know each other, and I think this takes place over the span of a couple weeks, I think. So like they start going out and they start getting to know each other and hanging out, and it's sort of like a slow burn type of romance, and they're getting to know each other. And I think on like one of their dates, like I can't remember what date it would be, but he tells her like his backstory and like that he's gone through some stuff, he's gone through some heavy stuff. Like this is actually like a big trigger warning. Like if this is something that would make you anxious or make you upset or like make you not want to read it, I would suggest not reading it or not listening to it whatsoever, because it was like a big shocker for me. He tells Olivia that he saw his brother die, basically. He saw his brother fall off a cliff when they were doing stuff, when they were climbing a mountain together, and he couldn't save him. And it was like devastating for him. So that was like a really big, like, whoa, really heavy. I was not expecting that whatsoever. Like, I got really invested in Olivia and Simon right away. This is the kind of book where it was like, I really wanted them to get together. I really wanted them to have a good relationship. I didn't want Simon to be like a jerkwad or something, but he totally isn't. And so it's explained relatively early on that his brother died, and he basically watched his brother fall off a cliff while they were mountain climbing, and that was a big deal. And that kind of sent him spiraling into depression, which is completely understandable. That is something that I would be like devastated if I saw my brother like die like that, or my sister or someone like that. Like, that's crazy. I couldn't even imagine going through that. So like he explains that to her, and she's like, wow, oh my gosh, it's like devastating. She feels for him so much. And then she shares secrets about herself, and she shares that her mom is going through this hard time in her life and like getting diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and she asks him to spend Christmas with them so that he's not alone. And so he does do that. But then in the book, he goes through this period where he doesn't talk to her for a couple of days, like more than a week, I think. He goes 10 days without talking to Olivia, and this is after he shared all his personal stuff with her. And this is after they've kind of established that they're both getting older, they want a relationship, they want a life partner. Like, they've talked it through, they want to be together for the majority of the rest of their life, basically. And so they established they have a stable relationship, and then he kind of like, he doesn't ghost her, I guess, but it sort of feels that way to the reader. And I thought it was very interesting. Like, I was like, why is he not talking to her? What did he do? Like, and then I thought this was going to be another, like, heart of the deal thing. I thought this was going to be another one of those deals where it's like, oh, I'm depressed. I can't be with you because I'm not ready. I'm not emotionally ready and all this stuff. And I thought it was going to be another Dustin and Ray situation. And I was totally ready to give this book like a 2-star because I'm so sick of reading stuff like that. But it totally wasn't. And I was like so happy and uplifted at that fact. So at the 10-day mark, when Olivia has not heard from Simon, she gets like a knock on her door, and she goes to the door, and it's Bella. And Olivia knows Bella. Bella is Simon's sister. So Simon had a brother, and he has a sister, and he lives with his sister, and his sister is like really concerned about him. And she's like, I don't know where Simon is. He's not answering me. Do you know where he is? And then Olivia's like, oh wow, my fears were actually validated. I did not know where he was. And she's like, yeah, he hasn't talked to me in like 10 days either, even though we basically said that we love each other and want to spend the rest of our lives together. And she's like really devastated about that. And Bella was like, well, he's gone through clinical depression, and he was hospitalized after our brother died, and I'm worried that he's going through that again. And Olivia is like, oh my gosh, I remember hearing about that, but I didn't know he was hospitalized. And Bella's kind of embarrassed that she had to say that to Olivia because she felt like she didn't want to give her brother's like secrets away. But really, in this circumstance, I think it was good that Bella had said that because it gave Olivia perspective on what she was going through and what he was going through at the time. So they go to his apartment, I think, at Willoughby Close. And Olivia like knocks on his door and is like, Simon, will you open up please? And Simon lets her in and stuff. And this is where he goes through like, I'm depressed. I'm sorry. I go through this sometimes. It doesn't happen all the time. And this is where it was like different from Dustin and Ray. Because Dustin, it felt like it was a continual pattern with him. But for Simon, it seemed like he went through it when his brother died, and then he got better. And then he like explained that he was getting better and he was on medication and stuff like that. And then he basically asks Olivia, is it okay? Do you still want to be with me even though I'm depressed? And I thought that was very moving, in my opinion. Like, I really felt for Simon in that moment. Like, to really say to someone that I am broken, do you still want to be with me? And Olivia was like the sweetest, and she said, of course I still want to be with you, which is something that I really liked. And the main thing that separates Dustin and Ray from Olivia and Simon is Olivia never thought that she could fix Simon. She's like, I'll be there for you, but I know that I can't fix you. That's basically what she said. I don't know if she said it in those exact words, but that's the message I got from that. And that's where it's like not toxic depression. This is non-toxic mental health issues. Like Olivia knows that she can't fix Simon, and Simon knows that he's broken, but he's trying his best. And that's two people coming together to be better, to make each other better. And that's exactly what I was talking about in The Heart of the Deal. Like Dustin and Ray were a toxic relationship and they were not making each other better. But Olivia and Simon were coming together and making each other better as a result. So that's where I have to applaud Kate Hewitt, because that was the biggest thing. If you're going to talk about mental health and you're going to bring it up like that, you're going to bring up depression and bring it into the love interest and like convolute it like that, I expect it to be not toxic. Like that's the only thing I want, is for it to be constructive. Like I really appreciated that Simon understood that he is not in a good place, and he told Olivia that it's totally okay to walk away from it. But Olivia was like, no, I know I can't fix you, but I will try my best to be there for you. Like that's what I loved about that book the most, is like they came together and they made each other better. And the ending was that's kind of where it ended. It was like a happy for now, which I thought was relatable and realistic. It was a happy for now, not a happily ever after necessarily, but like a happy for now. Like you could tell that there was going to be ups and downs, but you knew that it was going to be okay no matter what, because Olivia knew that she couldn't fix Simon, and she was okay with that. And Simon knew that he had some issues, and he was working through them, and that was healthy, and that was what I wanted. And that's what I wanted from The Heart of the Deal too. But I didn't get that. But I was really satisfied with that book and how it ended. And I was really satisfied that Olivia was mature enough to realize that no, she can't fix Simon, but yes, she still wants to be with him. And that was so beautiful to me. So that was definitely like a Hallmark Movies and Mysteries moment, where it's like you have these two broken people coming together, and you know that it's not going to always be okay, but it's going to be somewhat okay. Like there's going to be ups and downs, but overall it's going to be okay. And that was like the best lesson to learn from that book. And that was the first book in the series, and I was like blown away. I was like, wow, I wonder if there's any more books in this series. And there totally is. There's 4 books in this series, and they're all included until New Year's Eve. So if you want to listen to these, I suggest you do it now if you have an Audible membership and you don't want to use your credits on it. So the next book in the series is Welcome Me to Willoughby Close, and this one involves Emily David, and we kind of see her in the first book. Like the end of the first book, we see that someone new is moving to Willoughby, and that's where I thought this series was interesting, because I like it when we see characters and they are like interconnected with the other books. So we see Emily David briefly in the first book, and then we meet her fully in the second book. And this is her story. And this is also one that is like really heavy. Like these books, these are not lighthearted whatsoever. Like this, if you have major triggers, like with this one, it's definitely a bigger trigger than the first one, I think. Like if you deal with depression and stuff, and like you don't want to hear about someone basically falling to their death, I wouldn't recommend reading the first one. But with the second one, it's like it deals with neglectful childhood and like a mom who has bipolar depression and like gets hospitalized and tells her daughter that she basically hates her and doesn't want to see her. Like if that's something that triggers you, like with childhood abuse and like mental illness in a parent, I would totally not recommend reading this book either, because it's definitely heavy. And like I feel super bad for Emily. Like Emily David has gone through it. Like her mom has bipolar depression, and we learn early on that her childhood was messed up, and that her mom from ages 7 onward was like in between manic and like going down, and manic and going down. And like we learn that she like had physical spouts of like wanting to kill herself and like getting into physical confrontations with random strangers. And there's a part in the book where her mom gets re-hospitalized like recently. Like I think I started listening to the second book yesterday at work, and I have 2 hours left. And so I learned that her mom got re-hospitalized because she went off her medication for her bipolar depression, and she went through that bout of like she had a physical confrontation with someone and then tried to kill herself. And apparently she had already done this at some point in Emily's life, like 2 other times. So like Emily is like severely traumatized by that. And Emily is like, she reminds me of Nina Blackmore from the Thistle Grove series. Like, if you watched that video, you're gonna know what I'm talking about. I don't know if I'll probably have posted it before this one. But yeah, she reminds me of Nina Blackmore. She's sort of standoffish, kind of like an ice queen, and nobody really understands her. And nobody really makes an effort to understand her, which I thought was very frustrating, because it's like Emily seems like this really prissy, prim sort of woman who seems like she had the perfect upbringing, but really she didn't. And nobody knows that her mom has gone through this because she doesn't really want to tell everyone her dirty laundry, which is totally understandable. Like, I wouldn't want to air that out to everyone either. Sometimes some things are best kept private, and nobody really understands that. And I really feel bad for Emily because she meets all these women at Willoughby Close, and they're like all best friends, and they're all very loud and boisterous, and they're all really friendly in their own way, but they kind of treat Emily poorly in the beginning. And they're like talking bad about her when they think she isn't listening, which I thought was really, really kind of crude. Like, I didn't like that part. Like, one of the women called Emily like a cold fish. And I'm just like, why would you even say that? Like, that's so rude. And Emily heard that, and she was like, wow, that's awful. I can't believe they think that about me. And then she kind of says, wow, I don't even care that they think that about me. But really, she does care. Like, Emily is like this really hard exterior, but she really wants to be friends with people, even though she says that she doesn't. But she's only saying that because of all the stuff that she's been through. Like, she feels like she can't let anybody in, which is understandable. And like, from what she's went through, I wouldn't want to let anybody in either. I want to just be by myself. And Emily kind of has anxiety, and I think she has undiagnosed OCD because she has these really OCD like patterns and tendencies. Like, this book really brings in a lot of mental health issues, like, for sure. Like, Emily definitely has anxiety and stuff like that, and I feel really bad for Emily. So she hears that these women think that about her, and she's devastated, honestly. Like, I would be too. Like, you just want to be friends with people, or try to be friends with people, and then you hear that they're talking bad about you like that, and it's kind of like, what's the point? What's the point of talking bad about someone like that? Like, these women don't know Emily. She just moved here. Like, they're really judging her based on her looks and the way she's acting, but they don't really know anything about her. And I feel like I haven't gotten to the point in the book yet where Emily has like disclosed that she's gone through this stuff. The only person she's disclosed it to is Owen, and Owen is a bar owner, and he totally misjudged her too at first, but he redeems himself, and they end up, pretty sure they're going to end up in a relationship together, but I'm not exactly at that point yet. I haven't finished this book, so I don't know how it ends yet, but I'm assuming that Emily will tell the other women what she's been through and why she is the way she is, and then it'll probably be another happily for now type of scenario. And then there's 2 more books after that, and these are all kind of based during Christmas time, so that's why I've made them part of my mystical Christmas tree series. So, because the next book is called Christmas at Willoughby Close, so I'm assuming that's like going to be all Christmas. So once I finish the second one, I'll probably go into the third one. But this book series is basically taking place during Christmas. Even during the first one, it was during Christmas. But this is just a nice, sentimental Christmas series to listen to. But it's definitely not lighthearted. Like, it's heartwarming, but it's not lighthearted. It deals with very serious themes, and if you're sensitive to certain topics like that, I'm sure the other books probably go into certain similar themes as the other two. Like, there's a lot of mental health issues that are delved into. There might be suicide in one of them. I'm not sure, but these all seem like they're pretty heavy books, even though they kind of take place around Christmas time and have romantic themes. They're not necessarily, like, if you're sensitive to stuff like that, I can understand if you don't want to read it. But I would recommend it if you want something that's heartwarming, but not fluffy, but feels very sentimental. This is definitely a series where you're going to get in your feelings about it, and you're going to feel sentimental, and you're going to really feel for the characters. Like, the one thing I love about this book series is that all the characters feel really real. Like, they feel like they've gone through really real situations, and it's really relatable, and like, it shows that everybody has gone through something in their life, and that no matter who you are, no matter what you look like, somebody's always going through something. Like, even if someone looks like they're super put together, or like they have really nice clothes or something, or they look like they have a really nice job, they might not be happy. They might be going through something really tough. And I think the biggest thing with this series so far is to like not judge a book by its cover, and to like understand that everyone's going through something tough. Like, you're not alone. Like, you're not alone in feeling bad, basically, which is something that I really enjoyed about this book series so far, is like everyone is going through something together, and nobody's feeling alone or anything like that. And yeah, it's a really good book series so far, and I'm totally excited to finish book 2, and I'm excited to get into book 3 and book 4. And I don't know if I'll make videos on those because Christmas time is almost over, but maybe next year I'll make videos on them. But yeah, so thank you for watching. I'm very much enjoying making these videos, and I appreciate all of my viewership and all of my subscribers. And I just thank you for supporting me. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next video. So goodbye for now, friends.